Hey guys, Average Joe. I'm back with the videos that I had promised. There will be three different things this morning. First is a quick overview of the final version of the 552 Series 1 disc replacements. The second thing is an installation process. I'll go over how to install these onto the 552 Series 1 dumbbell, and then a demonstration of this in use on a Bowflex stand as well, so that you can see and compare how easy these are to use with compared with the original attempt, which I have a previous video that shows some of the challenges with using these on the weights due to tolerance issues and things like that. Okay, so here you can see the original 552 Series 1 discs. And of course, very common breakage problem. I've had multiple in my set that broke in this very similar way across the radius and around the hub. You can also see the pin style design that I had done originally as a proof of concept that you all had liked. And unfortunately, you know, it's kind of cool looking, but it just wasn't something that I could sell to you in good conscience. This had its own issues. I got rid of those issues. I refined the design quite a bit more and went back to my lip style of my very first design, and then took out the excess weight and made sure that it could be manufactured as affordably as possible. I also made sure that the interface with both the selector disc or dial and with the other OEM metal plate were kept rather than this pin style. This worked, but this is seamless. This snaps right in to the original OEM dumbbell frame. So one other thing I wanted to cover quickly in this video is the weight. So you can see here, typical disc, they each weigh a few grams different, but this one is a 32-gram part. This is disc, I want to say this is disc 3 or 4. This is disc 4. The originals that I had designed were up in the nearly 80 grams, but I've brought the weight to about double of the OEM. So basically what that means is that when you add this set to your existing dumbbells, you're going to gain about a 1/4 pound per dumbbell. And across the two dumbbells, a 1/2 pound. So you're now going to have, instead of a 52.5 pound dumbbell, approximately a 52.75 pound dumbbell. Not a lot different from the originals, but something that I thought that you should know. So we're done with this part. Next, I'm going to film the installation onto the dumbbell frame. Hey guys, so here's the before and the after. This is what you have today, and this is what you'll have after you do the fix. Not only is it safe, but it looks freaking awesome. So anyway, we'll put this aside and take a look at doing an installation on these. Now, I've taken these apart several times already, so some of this stuff might come apart a little bit more easily than it will for you on that very first time, but let's go through it anyway. So first thing is, you've got, many of you are going to have these end caps already on your dumbbells. I've removed them. You can actually see on this one that it's missing. I can't find it, and you don't really need it, but anyway, if you want to remove them, you can use just about anything, butter knife, any kind of flat edge that allows you to get up under the cap. And as soon as you do that, it'll lift off. Now these have remained sticky for me. They're very tacky, So I've been able to use them several times without putting any other adhesive on them. Your mileage may vary with this. So you're going to have to do that for both ends of your dumbbell. And then that'll expose your two bolts. It's actually a bolt, a shaft, and then another bolt, and they have washers. Some of them are metal washers, some of them are nylon. It depended on whatever the factory happened to put together at that time. Then you're going to need a 19 millimeter on one end, and I believe I've been using a 13/16 on the other end, believe it or not. I tried two 19s, but for whatever reason, on one of these bolts on each dumbbell, it doesn't work well enough. It's not tight enough. So experiment with yours. You might be able to use two 19s on your set. On mine, I wasn't able to for this 552 Series 1 anyway. So what you have to do is set for removal, and you're going to loosen these bolts. So let's check here. Now, once the bolts are loose enough, you should be able to spin one with your hand. Yeah, there we go. So, once it's loose enough, you'll be able to spin it with your hand and then remove the bolt fully. Okay, so make sure you've got your dumbbell vertical. You don't want the ball bearings and springs that are in these assemblies to go rolling around. If that happens, it's not the end of the world, and I can do a video on how to take care of that. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm just going to do a straightforward installation. If you follow these steps, you won't have any problems. So when you pull off your cover, I leave the bolt in it, however you want to do it, and then I flip it over and I put it down wherever and leave it like that. You can do it however works for you. Now, you've got a stack of 4 discs here. I slide the discs up and off the shaft, and they may come off individually, they may not, and they fall apart like that. But you can see here, these are the original broken discs. Now, this assembly has ball bearings, 2 ball bearings and 2 springs inside here. If you don't want that to fall apart, grab it with 2 hands, press with your thumbs down, depress this plate down so that you're holding it firmly, and pull this up off the shaft like that. And then put this somewhere together like this. Okay, so I'm going to put that down like that. Those springs and ball bearings haven't moved. We're good to go. Next, slide your handle off of the shaft. Same thing now with this one. You're going to use your fingers to press upward on that metal plate and your thumbs to press downward, basically clamping it with your hands. Slide it up off the shaft and keep it clamped with your fingers. You don't want these ball bearings and springs to go flying. So carefully place this also down on a surface. So you're good to go. Right now, those ball bearings and springs, you don't have to mess with them. Now, you slide your other disc pack off, and you're down to the other dial. So you're ready for reassembly. Now, I've been debating how exactly to ship these to you guys. One way that I could do this is individually, with the pins not installed. The other way is to do it as a stack like you see here of 4 discs ready to go with the pin already installed all the way through these 4 discs. It really won't matter. I mean, it's just a matter of you putting on individual discs and a pin, or you putting on a whole stack together. But what I'm going to do here is just line this stack up with the shaft. And you can see they just kind of drop down onto the shaft and they're on. Now you have to rotate it so that this dial engages that first disc in the keys that are in that disc. Let me just slide this away for a minute. You can see in there, hopefully, that this dial needs to engage that. Okay, so I'm going to rotate this around, make sure that this is engaged, and you know it's engaged because you'll only see some of the plastic remaining in there because it's recessed inside this part about 2 millimeters. So it actually sits in this metal, and you'll know as soon as it engages and you press it in, which will require a little bit of force on your part because it's got to press in there, then it's seated. So this assembly now is good to go. Next up is putting this back on carefully. So you're going to take your thumbs, press down on the plate, flip this over without allowing the plate to move. You know, you want it to stay pressed. Flip it over, put it on to the shaft, and then rotate it until it engages, and you'll feel it engage the plate. There you go. You hear that? You can hear it pop down onto the disc assembly. So now this is fully seated. Take your handle, slide it down on the shaft, and rotate it around. And you can hear that too. Listen, you'll hear it. There you go. It's in place. So as you rotate it, you'll hear it click into place. Again, very carefully. Take this, hold it with your thumbs. The handles are going to be oriented the same direction on the dumbbell assembly. They're both going to face the same way. So you know basically which way this thing needs to be aligned on this dumbbell shaft. Hold with your fingers so that the ball bearings and springs stay in place. Put it onto the shaft and click. Boom, it's in place. Notice these two are lined up, these two plastic crossbars. Now you're on to your next disc pack. So you grab your other disc pack. Now this one goes on with these keys going into those slots. So it's going to be flipped this way. And we put it onto the shaft. Now, again, there we go. Super. Now, oh, you can see in this case, this pin, this alignment pin, came out of the last, there we go, came out of the last disc, but no problem. As soon as you line it up, it'll slide right back in, and this whole assembly is now on. Now I need to rotate it so that it engages the plate below. So I'm rotating this, there we go. You hear that? As soon as I rotate this pack around the shaft, boom, you can hear it click down into this assembly. So this pack is on. Now you grab your bolt and final dial. And remember, you've got the long slot and the two short slots here. And you've got the matching long slot and two short slots there. So you know approximately how this needs to be oriented onto this. And you put this now onto your assembly. And it's going to press into place again. And it's, again, the recess. This is going to recess down into this assembly. Now, what I do is I look to make sure that everything is lined up. And then most importantly, right here, if you look right here, that's the end of the dumbbell shaft. You know you assembled this thing correctly if this dumbbell shaft is at the same height as this red recessed area of the plastic dial. If this dumbbell shaft is way down in there so that it looks basically more like this, then that is not correct. You need to be like that. That tells you that this thing is all seated properly throughout. Now you take your bolt and put it in here. I usually put my finger on the other end of the dumbbell, holding the other bolt temporarily while I turn this with my other hand. So I'm down here holding the bolt firmly on the other side. And I get this spun on enough to the point where I can now use my ratchet. And again, using my ratchet, holding with my finger, I'm going to tighten. And then once I get this snug enough so that this bolt starts turning in my fingers and I can no longer hold it, now I can use my ratchets to do the final tightening. And it just needs to be snug. That's it. I'm just doing snug. And now we are fully assembled. You can stick these back on and you can kind of see, no problem, sticks back on. If you have to put a little bit of adhesive, some sort of double-sided tape or something, you can do that. I've had no problem with mine. And that completes the installation of the disc pack. So, in the next segment, we'll see this in action on the Bowflex dumbbell stand. Hey guys, the proof is in the final results. None of us wanted to ever have to watch videos about fixing our dumbbells. When we bought them, we were hoping they would work as advertised and that we wouldn't have to worry about breakage or possible safety issues. But here we are watching dumbbell fix videos instead of working out. So hopefully after this, you can get yourself a fix, install it on your dumbbells, and never have to think about this again. Just go about doing your workouts, move on with your life. And yeah, that's the goal here. So a couple things. First, when I did the old prototype, you remember the handle was a bit difficult to get in and out of the weight stack because I had tight tolerances. It was also pretty difficult to turn these dials because of the tight tolerances. When the original designers made this, they put this play in so that you could easily get this handle into and out of these weights without having to be precise. While you're working out, the last thing you want to need to worry about is having your handle perfectly aligned to get it into and out of these plates. But I wanted to take out some of that slop. So the final design is halfway between the original prototype, which was too tight, and the OEM, which was too loose. So I got kind of the Goldilocks set up here. So I want to show you how easily this slides in and out of the weight stack now. You can actually use one finger. This thing comes in and out the way that it should. So when you're using it, boom. This is how it should work, just like OEM. Same thing with the dials. These dials should turn freely and easily, and they do. And now when you pull them out, You're not going to worry about these plates falling out anymore, ever again. But let's take a look here at, let's say 15 pounds. And we'll take a look at the tab. So these discs are never going to warp or crack on you again. This is it. You'll have this fixed for the life of the dumbbells. And that lip is never going to drop these weights. You would have to deliberately smash this in some way, maybe with a hammer. I don't know what. I don't know why anyone would do that, but it's not going to fail under all normal use. And it's many, many times stronger than the original plastic discs that were on here, the ones that they're still selling online for, $18+ a piece. So anyway, it works smoothly and easily. The plates are held safely and securely. Now you can get back to working out, not thinking about safety fixes and not thinking about watching videos about fixing your dumbbells. So I think I've accomplished the mission. I appreciate all of your support and your patience as I did the refinement of the design to get to where it is today. The 552 Series 1 design is now ready to go. It's going to go into manufacturing within the next 2 weeks. And then the 552 Series 2 and 1090, I'm working on the models now, and I hope to have those in manufacturing within the next couple of weeks as well. So stay tuned, and I'll give you updates through comments and also through email notifications at selecttech.fix@gmail.com. If you have any questions, let me know. And thank you for your support throughout this. It was a great project. Kind of wish I never had to do it to begin with, but it was a nice challenge, and I think I pulled it off. So thanks again, and have a great day, guys.